I'm Big Cal, and welcome to my world. Today is another Star Wars books episode. So, the last book that I just read was Star Wars Survivor's Quest. And this is the 7th book, really, in sort of a big series by Timothy Zahn that all essentially evolved around Thrawn. So, we have the Thrawn trilogy, the Hand of Thrawn duology, and then we had Outbound Flight, which was the last one that I read, and then Survivor's Quest. And this is essentially the, I guess, sort of sequel to Outbound Flight, but also to Vision to the Future, the second book in the Hand of Thrawn duology. Because this one takes place after the Hand of Thrawn duology, but focuses on the rediscovery of the Outbound Flight. And it is a tremendous book. We have Luke and Mara Jade off to meet with the Chiss Ascendancy, who basically want to give back the Outbound Flight, whatever's left of it, to hand it over to the New Republic, where it belongs. And then along for the ride we also have the 501st Legion of Stormtroopers. The 501st, mostly well known and famous for being Darth Vader's personal militia. But of course they're different now. They are part of the Hand of the Empire, which are on this sort of like used to be the secret base where Luke and Mara Jade investigated in the Hand of Thrawn duology. There's like Thrawn set it up years ago, and that's what they're part of. So they're not quite part of the Empire, but they're also, despite the fact that they worked with Chiss there and Thrawn, they're not obviously part of the Chiss Ascendancy. They're sort of their own little thing, but everyone's trying to get along now after the whole peace talks and things like that happened in the Hand of Thrawn duology. So anyway, they meet up, they go aboard this Chiss ship that is going to take them to Outbound Flight, and then we also get an ambassador for the New Republic joining them. He's not really an ambassador, he's goes by the name of Dean Ginsler. And anyone who's read Outbound Flight will know that he was in that as well. And his sister, Lorana Ginsler, not Ginsler, Ginsler, not Giz, Ginsler. She was a Jedi and the former Padawan to Jedi Master Seaboth. She was on Outbound Flight, and they left on bad terms because he hated her. But now he's pretending to be an ambassador to get aboard to find out essentially what happened to his sister and see if he can sort of, get rid of all the hate that he had for her and things like that. So, and then, of course, showed up these alien species known as the Geroons or something. Again, I don't know pronunciations, aliens, things like that. It's always confusing to me. But yeah, the Geroons are there. And they were the slaves that the Vagari had in these like little bubbles in front of the ship. So if anyone shot at them, they would destroy these bubbles and kill the slaves rather than attacking the ship. And the Vagari, the people who Thrawn was out to destroy during the whole Outbound Flight thing. The Outbound Flight got stuck in between Thrawn and the Vagari. There was a big battle and things like that. The Jedi and Outbound Flight helped destroy the Vagari along with Thrawn, and then obviously them and Thrawn had their own conflict. Things happened, blah 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 blah. Read the book. Yeah, so these Geroons or whatever are here because they've heard about Outbound Flight being rediscovered, and they want to pay their respects to the people who helped free them. And as we're on the ship, they have quite a bit to travel to get to the Outbound Flight. And of course, things start to happen. Nobody's trusting each other. You have the Hand of the Empire and the 501st Legion. You got 2 Jedi, and then you got the Chiss who don't really trust humans, and then you got these weird Geron people who are just sort of weird and out there, and cowardly and stuff. And a couple of things start happening on the ship. And nobody really knows what's going on, and then they finally get to Outbound Flight, and as they're looking to explore it, the Jedi, Luke and Mara Jade, they can sense people, 100 or so of them alive, which means there were survivors of Outbound Flight, and they've obviously started a colony. And of course, these people do not trust anybody. And they most certainly do not trust the Chiss, because it was Thrawn who destroyed them, got them where they are, and they don't trust the Jedi because of Master Seaboth being a complete and total evil bastard in Outbound Flight. So there was a lot of conflict there, and then there's a twist at one point with someone not being who they say they are, and lots of shit happens. Everyone else has to join together to kill them. And it's a really, really good book, really interesting story, and I very much enjoyed it. And also, while I was reading it, I couldn't believe that a certain name popped up. It was a name that was in Outbound Flight, and I didn't realise who he was at the time in Outbound Flight, and that was George Cardass. And they brought him up again here because he had some involvement, and they mentioned who he was. He was the guy that started up, what do you call him? Cards, huge, little smuggling empire essentially, and then disappeared, and Card took over. And then during the Hand of Thrawn duology, he goes looking for Cardass, thinking he's probably going to get killed by him for taking over his company basically, and to try and find the document that would fix everything that was going on at that time in those books. I didn't realise it was him. So this guy, who was really a mysterious character in that Hand of Thrawn duology, turns out he met Thrawn all those years ago when the Outbound Flight thing was happening, and he was teaching Thrawn the basic language and all this other stuff. And so now things kind of make more sense with what happened to him, and especially when he gets help from these aliens at one point during the Hand of Thrawn duology, and it all just came together. It's like, how did I not remember who that guy was when he came up in the book, in the Outbound Flight book? And I just thought it was some random new guy. No, it's just because it had been months since I'd read the Hand of Thrawn books that I'd kind of forgot his name. So it was nice when he came up again in here and they actually mentioned who he was. It's like, oh my god, it's him. So yeah, that happened. So overall, like I said, an excellent book and a wonderful finale, I guess, for the sort of 7th edition Thrawn chronicle that Timothy Zahn wrote. Now, also throughout all of these, there was always this mention of this, big evil, outside of the borders of the Chiss Ascendancy's empire. This big evil that Palpatine knew about, and that Thrawn knew about, and a few other people. And the only real reason that Thrawn went and joined the Empire and with Palpatine was because he knew that the time would come where the Chiss Ascendancy would need their help in defeating this big evil. And they kept teasing it and teasing it and teasing it, and of course we never got to it in this. And this was the last book in the sort of series. And now, of course, these are legends, and Timothy Zahn's had to start all over again with the new Thrawn book, which is now canon. So the question becomes, is he going to continue this story of the evil out there or not? Because how sort of can he? Because now we have the new trilogy out, and we don't have this big evil out there unless Snoke is part of it. I don't know. It's just going to be really weird, and it's such a shame that it had to end the way it did without us ever getting to know what was happening. But aside from that, a series of 7 utterly excellent books, all really focusing on Thrawn, whether he was there or not. Like, so in the last 3 books of this series, the Hand of Thrawn duology, and this one, Thrawn's dead. Spoilers. So almost half of the series is about Thrawn, but him not being there. And it was really good. That's the lasting effect that Thrawn had on the entire galaxy, basically. So really, really cool. And that was the last Star Wars book I read. And I've just ordered 4 more books. One of them came today. 2 more have been dispatched, waiting on the 4th one. I got a new trilogy for me to read, and that is the Darth Bane trilogy, which can't wait to get into. Darth Bane, for those that you don't know, is the Sith Lord who survived the big Jedi versus Sith war 1,000 years before Episode 1, where the Sith was thought to have been defeated for good. Darth Bane survived in secret and began the rule of 2. Always a master and an apprentice and no more. So I can't wait to really get into the trilogy of books about him. And then I got Shadows of the Empire as well. Really, really interesting story going on there. Can't wait to read that. That is set, I think, between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. Or it could be Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. It's in between 2 of the original films anyway. So very much looking forward to reading that as well. So I'm bigcal, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.